Canada's new move explained in simple terms. A tariff is a tax a country puts on products from other countries, making those imported goods more expensive for buyers. Canada just announced new tariffs on US and Chinese products, affecting hundreds of different items across various industries. The government says it's to protect Canadian businesses and workers from foreign competition, but many are questioning if these tariffs will help the economy or just create more problems for consumers and businesses. We'll explore what led to this policy, how other countries are reacting, and what it means for people in all three countries involved. Canada's leaders say these tariffs are meant to protect Canadian businesses. They worry cheap US and Chinese products hurt local companies. Tariffs are supposed to make Canadian goods more attractive by raising prices on imports. Canada also wants to send a message of summary and China have their own barriers against Canadian products. By imposing tariffs, Canada hopes to push for fairer trade. The government also wants to show it stands up for Canadian workers, especially in industries like steel and manufacturing. But not everyone agreed with this plan. Some business leaders warned tariffs could backfire, raising prices for shoppers and making it harder for Canadian companies. These concerns quickly became reality. The backlash was swift. The US and China quickly condemned Canada's new tariffs. American leaders called the move unfair, warning it would hurt both economies. Chinese officials accused Canada of starting a trade war and threatened to retaliate. American farmers and Chinese manufacturers worried about losing Canadian customers. Social media exploded with criticism, demanding Canada reverse its decision. Trade talks between the countries became tense, with threats of new taxes and reduced imports. Businesses in all three countries grew nervous. Diplomatic meetings were canceled or delayed. Hopes for friendly trade talks vanished, replaced by frustration and mistrust. The new tariffs are affecting a wide range of everyday products, everything from food and cars to electronics and clothing. These tariffs, recently introduced, are making it more expensive for Canadians to buy many of the items they rely on, whether they're shopping for groceries, upgrading their phones, or looking for a new car. For example, American cheese, Chinese smartphones, and US cars are now noticeably pricier in Canada. Shoppers are seeing the difference every time they visit a store, with price tags reflecting the new reality. A block of American cheddar that used to cost $5 now costs $7, making even simple grocery trips more expensive for families. Chinese smartphones, which were once considered affordable alternatives, have jumped 15–20% in price, putting pressure on consumers who want to upgrade their devices. Canadian businesses that rely on US or Chinese parts are also feeling the squeeze. Whether it's a mechanic needing a replacement part or a factory sourcing components, the cost of repairs and finished products is rising, and those increases are often passed on to customers. Everyday items like kitchen appliances and children's toys are also more expensive, making it harder for families to stick to their budgets. Even small purchases add up over time. Shoppers are definitely feeling the pinch. Parents are worried about affording groceries, and restaurant owners are struggling with higher bills for ingredients and supplies. The rising costs are causing stress for many. Price hikes aren't limited to luxury goods. They're hitting daily essentials like bread, milk, and toiletries. These are items that every household needs, so the impact is widespread. In response, some Canadians are turning to local products, hoping to avoid the higher prices on imports. Farmers markets and Made in Canada labels are becoming more popular, but not everything can be sourced locally. Many goods, especially electronics and clothing, still come from the US or China. For these products, there are few Canadian-made alternatives, so shoppers have little choice but to pay more. For many families, avoiding these higher prices is nearly impossible. The impact of these tariffs is being felt in households and businesses across the country, making it a challenge for everyone to keep up with the rising cost of living. The effects of these tariffs have rippled through the Canadian economy, touching nearly every sector and community. What started as a policy decision has now become a daily reality for countless Canadians, from business owners to families trying to make ends meet. Small businesses say they're losing money. They can't pass all the extra costs to customers. Many are struggling to keep their doors open, as higher import costs eat into already thin profit margins. One furniture store owner says, "We pay 20% more for US frames, and sales are down." For stores like his, every price increase means fewer customers and more unsold inventory gathering dust on the shelves. Some factories are cutting back on shifts or laying off workers as parts become too expensive. Production lines slow down and Workers worry about their future, unsure if their jobs will be there next month. These job cuts weren't what the government promised. Instead of growth and opportunity, many communities are facing uncertainty and frustration, with some even taking to the streets in protest. Canadian consumers face higher prices on food, clothes, and electronics, forcing tough choices. Families are rethinking their weekly grocery lists, skipping out on treats, and searching for bargains wherever they can. Some have stopped buying certain products, while others cut back on extras, hurting local businesses. The ripple effect means less money circulating in local economies, leading to even more closures and layoffs. The pain isn't just in Canada. These tariffs have strained relationships with major trading partners, making it harder for Canadian businesses to compete on the world stage. US and China have retaliated with their own tariffs, causing Canadian exports to drop. This means fewer sales abroad and more unsold goods piling up at home. Fishers in Atlantic Canada, for example, are selling less lobster to China at lower prices. Their livelihoods are at risk, and entire coastal communities feel the impact as incomes shrink. Trade decisions have far-reaching consequences. What happens at the negotiation table can change lives across the country, affecting jobs, prices, and the future of Canadian industries. Many are feeling the strain. For countless Canadians, tariffs aren't just numbers on a page, they're a daily challenge, shaping the way people live, work, and hope for a better tomorrow. These tariffs aren't just numbers, they're changing lives. In Ohio, farmer Mike Sanders says, "We used to send half our soybeans to Canada. Now we have piles we can't sell." In China, toy factory manager Liu Wei explains, "Canadian stores are canceling orders. We may have to lay off workers." Canadians are also struggling. Maria Gomez, a mother in Montreal, says, "Back-to-school shopping cost us $200 more this year. We had to skip some things." Restaurant owner Kevin Lee in Vancouver raised prices, but now customers come in less often. Businesses are losing sales, and families are making sacrifices. These stories show how trade policies touch everyday lives. The pain is real, even if the reasons seem distant. Canada's tariffs were introduced with the intention of protecting local industries and jobs, but instead, they've created unexpected challenges for all three countries involved: Canada, the United States, and China. What was meant as a shield has become a stumbling block in international relations. As a result, consumers are facing higher prices on everyday goods, businesses are losing sales, and customers are left feeling frustrated and powerless. The ripple effects are felt in every corner of the economy, from small shops to large retailers. Many economic experts now argue that the plan has backfired, causing harm to Canadian families and businesses just as much as it has affected foreign competitors. Protests and debates have erupted, highlighting the widespread dissatisfaction. International trade is incredibly complex. When one country raises tariffs, others often respond in kind, escalating tensions and disrupting established trade routes. This tit-for-tat approach can quickly spiral into a full-blown trade war, where no one truly wins and everyone stands to lose something valuable. The government's goal was to protect local jobs, but ironically, many workers are now on strike, and small businesses have been forced to close their doors, unable to cope with the new economic pressures. The key takeaway is clear: cooperation and open dialogue are far more effective than conflict and isolation. In today's interconnected world, countries rely on each other for goods, services, jobs, and economic growth. No nation can thrive in isolation. Quick fixes like tariffs may seem appealing, but they often create new, more complicated problems that are harder to solve in the long run. That's why it's crucial for world leaders to come together, engage in honest discussions, listen to each other's concerns, and work toward fair, balanced solutions to trade disputes. Only by working together, building trust, and fostering cooperation can we create a stronger, more resilient, and fairer global economy for everyone.